And today we want to discuss flexible approach to building operational financial model. That is, I'll just show you a more flexible approach when it comes to you building monthly model. That's one. The second thing is, why do I need to build monthly model? Because most times, what we tend to, the output of our model are usually the annual output. So why do I need this monthly model of the thing? Let's get started. As I've always said, that we have to approach when it comes to financial model. Because this one thing I want you to understand. A financial model is not all about the artistical part. It's not that you just go into Excel, put values together, and you leave it there. No. It's all about business. And how we transfer that business into figures. Which, if we take a look at it, apply common sense. If I'm saying something is a picture and realistic of what they do day by day, right? Monthly, can go as granular as we want when it comes to period. And here I am, I'm building a yearly thing. I should be able to put that business operations, at least to a minimum extent, which is the monthly period. So as to be able to capture what they do on daily basis. Now, most times it's very, very difficult. And one of the reasons why most modeler usually run away from it is because of how stressful it can be. So let's get started. As the saying goes, failing to plan is planning to fail. I know that will be like, okay, what does this has to do with building a monthly model? In other words, if you flip it the other way around, business can still plan and still fail. As I said, it's all about business. You can still plan and still fail. Now, someone will think, okay, maybe it's not being well executed. It could be, it might not. You can even have the strategies well laid out and well incorporated, but the business still fail. However, I want you to know that 80% of the reason why most businesses fail can actually be avoided. Either startup, either existing business, even a corporate organization, just that already established organizations understand all these techniques and they apply it. Though most times the pressures, they try to transfer the pressure to the management personnel. So 80% of the failure of business could be avoided. And if you understand this concept, you as a modeler, because you need to know that as a modeler, you are wearing so many caps. So you don't just limit your work to put the values in Excel and leave it there. No. You need to test, does it make sense? The reasonability, what is achievable? Now, let's now take a look at the concepts. If these concepts, if we understand it in this manner, it could have saved so many businesses. And you know what? We, the accountant and the financial modeler, we contribute to this. Now, by the time we get to the practical aspect of it, you will see the reason why I said with accountant and financial modeler, we also contribute to this failure. In any kind of business you do, you know that there's one king in every business. There's only one king. I don't know how you want to spread it out. And most time I usually encourage anyone that, see, if you want to be a sound financial modeler or a sound professional when it comes to finance, you need to understand how bank operates. Like bank. If you can understand how bank operates, you understand the old system that kind of govern this world. You understand any kind of business. And that's why you go to bank, you want to borrow.
So this week, person to come. Next week, instead of person to come. Exactly. And I did it not even the 4 hours, I think 10 to 4. But even the 10 to 4 now.
So maybe you might want to note everyone. Okay, thanks for that. So cash is the king. You go to bank, I want to borrow loan. Bank will tell you, bring your cash flow. Now, income statements, because of standard here and there, because of our accrual basis, yes, you can make up your profits and tell you and say that, hey, you know what, your business is profitable. You can go to your balance sheet, do it the way you want, standard, saying this, incorporate it, and it's looking so robust. But you know what? Cash is cash. Is that you have it? You don't have it. And in finance, right, it's from our basis when you want to, when you are saying returns. So if you go and meet investors, right, someone that is financially inclined, you are measuring returns. The fact that you are saying 20% in return, if it does not translate into cash, it's not making sense. You're saying I'm making this profit. If the profit is not translating into cash, it's not making sense. You're saying I'm growing, and if that growth is not being transferred into cash, it's not making sense. And that's why when it comes to business valuation, we only focus on the cash element that the business can generate in the future or has generated in the past. Even if you are using assets kind of approach, basically you are saying if you take these assets if you take this business outside today and you want to sell it, how much will someone be willing to pay for it? Now, everything in the business surround this guy. And now, fundamentals of accounting is something we call our real framework, which encompasses our revenue, right, expense, the business assets, and the funding and liabilities. So all of these, so starting from assets, revenue, you manage your costs, you source your funding, the liabilities, and then the last one, which is the net working capital. All these, right, they are built around cash because that's the whole story. When you are dealing with business, it will tell you that, hey, if it's not about money, then just forget it. Which means all the discussion, if you drag this, drag that, drag this, drag this, if it's not ending in cash, it's not making sense because that is the business. This is the king in every business, in any organization, even non-governmental organization. Now, element of the business has also been incorporated to impact cash. Now, three elements of business. The first one is what we call cash. Is the king. You cannot operate without it. The second one is system. Now, and that's why you see that organization at times will decide to set up a strategy unit. That's their homework. So this is the vision of our business. This is the goal of our business, right? This is the procedure of the business. This is our own branding. This is our business model. See, all this is built around cash. In other words, any part of your business needs to be measured against cash because that's the last result when you are dealing with business. You build your income statement, your balance sheet, your cash flow, and you know the last thing that you link to your balance sheet is the cash. So which means any decision you are making, any plans you are making, everything needs to tie into the figures. And that's why you build a business plan, right? You state, oh, this is how we plan to grow. Then the next thing someone wants to see is, oh, how have you converted this into figures? Oh, we plan to grow like this, grow like this, grow like this. Now, the next thing is, what's this in figures? In our finance or non-finance manager, when we are training the top management personnel, there's something they usually do. Everyone in an organization, there's a way you are tied to the business revenue and the bottom line down to cash. So which means business does not operate in isolation. Everyone is contributing in making sure that we have this king, which is the cash, that serve as a means of returns, profit, growth, and valuation. So for a business that focus more on system and they cannot translate or transfer that system into cash, into figures, then they are automatically set for failure. I cannot be saying, oh, you know what, I expect to grow by 10% this period, grow by 25% this period, and in your figures, it is really not adding up. right? Then the third one is the team. As I said, measure, hey, this is where you stand in the organization. The next question is, how are you contributing to the business? How are you contributing to both the top line and the bottom line? So in case anything goes wrong in the business, they know that, okay, you know what? We need to remove this guy. We need to remove this guy. It's easy for them to identify who they will remove. So everyone contributes. The plan, the legal, here and there, the branding, the marketing, they all contribute into this business operation. And now, what is your own contribution in the business? What is your role as a financial analyst and also a financial model and even accountant? Okay, please, our admin, I don't know, maybe you want to stop this and annotate people who are joined on the board. Maybe if you can
Yeah,
help us
I'll do
clear
that.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so disable animation for others. Yeah, so maybe you can just help us clear this. Okay. Now, what is our own role? One thing you need to understand, business is all about risk. Business is all about risk. How have you managed your business risk? So which means risk historically. And the other one is what? Risk in the future. Now, historical risk are risks that the business has been exposed to, which means you really have no control. Now, most times management usually focus on this guy, which is the historical one, and that's where you see the accountants, financial reporting, they do financial analysis, and they tell you that, oh, you know what, this business was not profitable, and as such, we need to do something. We need to do something. We made loss in the last year. Then the management will start getting angry unnecessarily, right? And you know what they will do? They start saying, oh, you know what, we need to sack this guy. We need to sack this guy. You are not doing your own job. You are not performing your own duty. And in real sense, it could, maybe that's not what they need to do. Now, previously, as I said, management usually focused on this, but lately, the attention has been shifted. I said, okay, you know what has happened in the past has happened. There's really nothing we can do. Now we need to do what? Move straight to the future. And that's when we now have be the financial model in terms of financial forecast and investment evaluation. So in summary, we are saying you should be able to build your model. If management make strategic decision on monthly basis, even if it's weekly basis, even I've seen a case where I had to build a model on weekly basis. If the business make decision monthly basis, they see their budget, they have the variance analysis, they do everything. That means the same thing must also be incorporated into your model. We are really moving into an advanced world, right? And which means management need to be able to follow through everything that is happening in the organization. And that's why I feel so sorry for most business owners, especially the startup, that are really not financially inclined. Because you know what? The first debt that you are going to see will come from the historical guys. Because number one, once they fail to even report your actual risk, that is everything you've done in the business, in figures to you, then you are faced with so many problems. If they fail to report this guy that, hey, you know what, this is how you've managed, oh, you've done 1 year. See, this is the true picture of your business. Now, if they cannot do that, then it becomes a problem. Future wise, right? We should be able to structure our model in such a way that even you as a business owner, as the management personnel, they should build a model, send it to you, and you should be able to do what? Understand the model and pick the model. You should be able to pick, to do what? Sit down with the model and say, oh no, this month, I'm not sure this is possible. Because if we look at previous month, this was not achieved. We look at this. Right? Okay, so someone said they cannot hear me. Is it just the person?
I think it's just the person. We can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay, all right. So maybe you can log out and log in. So yeah, finding it difficult here. Okay, all right. So please, read me able to clear this our drawing on the board. I'm not sure I can do that from my end. So I should see the option of clear the drawing or something.
Can you check if you can see it? Because I've been trying to look for it, I couldn't find it.
This is looking good on the board. Okay, let me think I've seen that. People are just trying to contribute. When they were okay, all right, so okay, all right. So, which means we should be able to do what? Monthly operations. It should go straight into the model as well. As we are saying, it's not just figures. We are modeling the what the future of the business. Now, as I said, less of talking. I do more of practical. So now let me show you a flexible approach to building a monthly model.
So please, I've never had to
Not sure. I think this Yusuf Oladele is logged in multiple times. Maybe like just try and remove. Okay, thank you.
So let me mute everyone. It might just mute you as well, so you can unmute yourself.
Unmute. Okay, all right, all right. Please do. All right, so let's get started with a blank Excel. Blank Excel. And let's use a simple scenario case. So let's assume I've been approached by a business. Right? What does the business do? So let me say production of noodles. Noodles, right? So that's what they are doing. It's just a sample case. So production of noodles, this is what these guys want to do. Right. So everything being equal, I just want to forecast their quantity, the unit they will be selling going forward. Now, as our typical approach when we are building our typical model, we usually just go straight. Oh, maybe in year one, this is the total unit we expect you to do. Then year two, and you forecast that growth. Beautiful. But you know what? We are really moving away from that. There was a period where you build a model, and it's only you that built the model that will be able to even update the model. But no, we really need to help. We need to help our businesses. We need to contribute. Okay, so now let's assume, let me say this is a base. So let me say I'm taking one of their, so maybe they have different products, right? So let me zoom out so that you can see. So let me call this product line one. Product line one. So maybe the 70, maybe 70 grams, like 40 or something, just something like that, right? And I'm saying I'm starting with what will be the base quantity. What will be the base quantity? Base quantity. That I'm just saying the first month, at least maybe setting up the business, doing marketing here and there, PRO, you've done all those things, right? And you feel that, okay, you know what? Maybe by the time we are starting, the first month, maybe let's start with, the business should be able to sell around 5,000. So let me do my, let me follow our modeling standards. So whenever you are building your model, you always maintain a good sales style guide. So things that are input and coded is very easy for someone to recognize. Okay, now I've seen a monthly model where they will build from January to December, they put one empty column or one empty row. Then again for the next 2 years, another empty row. Then it becomes, and I just sit down and I imagine how long will it take someone to build that kind of model? Right? Efficiency is very, very important. Now, most people will also be like, oh, do I need to now split out the months, like from, let's say I'm building for 5 years, I'll now split everything from month 1 to month 60. Then the workbook is just too wide. No, you don't need to do that. Because that also consumes time, and it even make it's very difficult for your users to be able to even do that update. Now, here, I'm going to put my year here. So let's assume our forecast is starting in 2024, or just assume we are in 2023. So 2024, so let me increase this by 1, this plus 1, right, and up to 5 years. I think, yes, this should be 5 years, good. Right, then up here, now let's assume I have my January, which will be my first month. So with this, let me drag this. So that is autofill will complete it. Yes. So here, so which means what I'm saying here is this 2024, this is January 2024, this is February 2024, this is March 2024. So which means it's very easy for them to just do few updates. Right? So January 2024, so you can see January 2025, February. Now, I want to build this. So this is, so we are saying the base quantity, they will start in the first month, 5,000. Right? Now, we now want to see how they will grow. So let me put this in this font, right? And definitely this will be a percent. So let me put this in percent. So in the first month, definitely there won't be any growth because we are saying this 5,000 represents our base, which will be the what they are going to sell in the first month. So in this other month, let me just put fictitious assumptions here, right? So maybe 2.5. In the next year, right, they will be doing maybe, let's just put 3%. In the following month, maybe I'll just put it as 1.9 on average. So here, just put 2%, and then here I'll just put maybe 1.5%. Now, right, so if I come here and I put, and let me just complete the average. So if I do the average, like this. So this is what I'm getting. So I'm saying, oh, you know what, on average in first year, this is what we are going to have. Year 2 or monthly on average. Now, what it will do, it's easy for the management for you to even sit down, because you see, yes, after the modeler has done his work, that's where you, the owner of the business, also need to sit down. Right? By the time the business starts operating, you should be able to come back to your model and impute what you are able to achieve in that model, so that it kind of gives you, okay, this is where I wanted to be, this is where I am. Now, how do I get to move into the future? How do I model the reality of it? Okay, yeah, so as I said, please just try and look at my screen, understand, listen to my voice. This will be shared with us so that you'll be able to practicalize on your own. Yeah. So, which means with this, it's easy for them. Maybe by the time they start the business operation, they realize that maybe in the first year, maybe the first 3 months, they even manage, maybe they did not even sell anything. Then they decide to put this at 0%. Right? They start making another plan. Okay, you know what? We thought we would be able to even sell maybe 5%, this percent in this year. So it's easy for them to be able to insert it. Now, when you are dealing with modeling, there's something we call 3S concept in financial modeling, which we call, yes, we give you access to the recording. Yes, we stated that from the start. So 3S, number 1, story. There's always the story. Whenever you are building a model, as I said, it's a business, it's an operation, it's our, oh, this is our marketing plan, this is our strategy plan, this is how we plan to grow, this is that. Now, we need to translate that into figures. So which means that story must be there. So if I've said the business will grow 2.5% in April, what if they decide to, maybe something happened, and this period they start picking up and they maintain, they just jump to 10%. This can happen, especially for a startup. So story, you need to tell the story. Now, different story, you need to be able to structure that story very well. And during that structuring, you need to also be able to create different scenarios. Now, the next question is, hey, if I want to build the model for the client, I'm sure you don't want to ask your clients, can you give me your expected monthly growth? I'm sure they really don't have that time. In fact, they believe that the financial modeler, you are a magician, you should be able to come up with that. Then the next question, you open your model, you present to the client, and the first question the client asks you, where did you get 3%? Why 1%? Why not 7%? Why not 20%? Know that kind of funny thing. And that's why most people just decide, you know what, let me stick with the yearly one. And I ask them, hey, what's your expected yearly growth? And they go, oh, maybe you want to grow by 20% in year one, and year one, year two, year three, year end. So just incorporate that. Now, you can also have that. And you know, the reason, the whole concept of financial modeling is to be able to remove human input and drive the model using what? Some statistical tools, some macroeconomic data. Right? Now, in relation to that, let's now look at another example. So this one, we're saying we want to be able to send this to the manager, and management should be, as they progress in their business, they should be able to put in their actual, and that should help guide them know, okay, you know what, maybe this is not realistic. This is not this, this is not that. Now, there are some businesses that also incorporate seasonality, especially for a manufacturing firm, right? There's something we call seasonality. And also you as a modeler, you should be able to do this into the model. So we're also going to incorporate that seasonality. So let me call this. So our January, right? Then our one here. So we're also going to incorporate that seasonality so that we see how you also incorporate that into your model. Because it's all about how the business operates. It's all about how business operates, right? So maybe let's say this is a typical manufacturing business, right? Just copy that in this format. So maybe let's say year one, maybe. So what we are saying now for the seasonality, we've projected that this business we sell 5,000 carton, right, this month. But because of the seasonality, you know, there's some business that they are really more of season. Maybe during festive period, you realize that you tend to sell more. When there's no season, when there's no festival period, your sales tends to fall a little bit. Whenever it's close to some festive period, you see that you see significant rise in the sale of a product. That must also be reflected in your model. So let's say January 80%, February 70%, maybe March, because of the festive period, Easter is coming and all those things. So maybe 100%, the same thing in April. So maybe May, students going back to school, you need to make that provision. June, let's say maybe June, things just tends to stabilize. People start saving up for the festive period to come, right? So I'm actually, as you can see the way I'm also relating to the whole thing. That's how you as a modeler, you also build your model. Even if they give you assumptions, you are also a financial advisor. You need to understand what is obtainable in the industry. Test it for reasonability, right? So September, things start to pick up. Then October, okay, let's say September, right? Maybe a student also resume back or something like that. I'm just creating different story, right? About the truth is that's how I build my model when I'm building my model. So when a client is telling me this, I can still tell you that I feel this, I feel that. Yeah, you might be right, you might know the business more than I do, but this and this and this. So maybe December festive period 100%. So which means I must be able to factor this on this. So which means if I'm saying I'm going to my forecast is saying I will sell 5,000 this period, right? Let's say I will sell 5,000 in each of the period. Putting this seasonality is telling me that, hey, no, you might not be able to sell what up to what you forecasted. Now, that's the seasonality. Let's now go back to our first. So I'm going to just put this here, right? Okay, good. So let me copy this. Here. So this will now become, so maybe let me call this scenario one. Professional. So scenario one. Scenario one. Then I'll call this scenario two. So scenario two. Now for the scenario two, right? I've been able, assuming I've been able to obtain what the yearly growth would be. Right? Because I know that you might be like, oh, most time definitely the clients won't give me all this monthly growth. How do I go about it? You know what? If they can give me a yearly expectation, so yearly, so I call this yearly growth. Yearly growth. So let's assume. So assume they've given the management that they've given me the yearly growth. So this will become here. So maybe they are saying in year one, you know what, we'll grow by 10%, in year two, maybe 12%, In year 3, 8.5%. Then the following period, 7.5, maybe it tends to pick things up, invest more and expand, then 15% here. This is the growth. Right? As I said, the whole objective of modeling is to also what? Remove anything like human input. So now I'm going to use a statistical function to be able to derive a monthly growth. And you'll be wondering, okay, how are we going to do that, right? So assuming the client has given me this, first thing is I need what would be the standard, so let me say standard deviation. So I'm sorry, the truth is, as a modeler, you need understanding of statistics. Trust me. Trust me. So this one, I will just assume maybe a deviation of 2%. So in case you don't know much about standard deviation, you might just want to check. In layman, basically say, hey, I'll be maintaining a 10% across this period. Then the deviation is either, hey, it could be above 2%, below 10%, below 20%. So that's just more like, they also use it in when it comes to this marketing performance evaluation, right? So you're saying it's someone that keeps selling 20 units every day, as compared to someone this today sold 1 unit, tomorrow will not sell, then the next 3 months, then maybe it's going to sell like 20 units. The following month, the following period, it's not going to sell again. So now you're like, okay, who do you think will prefer? Right. Okay. So if you have questions, you can just type in the chat box. Right. Okay. So as I said, we're going to share the recording with you. So don't worry, you don't need to do it after the training session. You can always go back to it, watch it, and video that out. Now, there's now a formula we call norm in normal distribution. So let me see. So the formula is called NOM and norm. What is the normal distribution? Normal distribution. So for this one, we are going to use the normal distribution inf, right? It returns the inverse of the normal cumulative distribution for the specified mean and standard deviation, right? So this, what would be my probability? So definitely, you know, our probability could either be 1 or 0, right? So what I'm going to do is I'll just use my rand function, which can give us 0 and 1, right? Comma, what's my mean? This is my mean, which is the growth the management they've given us. I'm going to keep the column constant. Then comma, what is my standard deviation, which is this other 2%, right? And I'll close the brackets and press enter. Let me put this in percent. So what this will give us is going to just give us a range that is achievable. So which means at the end, so the first month we said we do. So let me just copy this. Let me copy it down. So the reason I've been able to copy that is because I've done my cell locking, right? So that's why you can see that. So which means by the end, I want to be able to see the average here. And you should still be able to mirror the average. So like this, and just copy this down. So which means, so we don't need for the first month. So the first month is out. So now, if we look at the average of what I'm getting here, this is approximately equal to what the management, what they've given me. So you can see that, see, there are so many different ways when it comes to you dealing with modeling. It's a reality of the business, right? So which means, but at the end, you can see the average. Now, if I keep pressing F9 because of the rand function, which is the different probability of F9, I can get different scenario from this, multiple scenario from this, right? So with this, they don't need to ask me how did I get this monthly growth. Hey, you know what? You're saying you maintain average growth of 10%. Now, I know most of us will do, even if you are breaking this down into monthly, into a monthly model, then it tends to just make everything 10% across. No, but let's follow the real business scenario and now that play out, right? Then the next question is, someone might even say, hey, but this is annual and this is monthly. Well, if you want to divide it by 12 months, you can do that as well. But I will leave that to you. I will leave that to you. So now we've created scenario 1 and scenario 2, right? Then you can now go ahead and can go ahead and now do your scenario and the one that you are going to make. But the next question is, how do we now translate this into our monthly model? How do I transfer this into a monthly model such that it is very, very flexible? Yeah, this one people are saying I should slow down. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. As I said, I'm not fast, so don't worry. We'll share the recording with you so that you can also sit down with it yourself. Don't worry. All you just need to do is listen, understand the whole logic. So by the time you are watching the recording, you remember, oh, okay, he said this. If you have any question, just note it down. So by the time I'm done, you can just go ahead and ask. So now let's do our monthly. Let's assume I want to complete my monthly quantity, right? Let me expand this. Let me expand this. And then let me do this. Under my column F. So let me assume I'm going to have my start date, my end date, my period count. So I also need my month count. Then I will also need my yearly period. So let me reduce this other guy. So structuring is very important when you are building your model. Let me say my end date. So let me say 31st of 12, 2023. And my model will start in January 1st. So the end date plus 1. Right. Then I can use my e date, which is my start date, comma. My month is 1 month, so 1 will always be 1. Right. So yeah, it's not good to type inside the formula, but 1 will always be 1. Then I need 60 months. So what I'm going to do is I'll just type 1 here. Come to my Excel. I need 60 months. So use my fill, go to my series. I think this should be row, right? Yeah, this should be row. Then I'll put my stock value at 60. I click on OK. Yeah, so which means this will end 60, right? Month 60. So I can just click on the last column, Control Shift to the right arrow, so to the end of my Excel, and I can press my Control 0 to hide it. So which means I see now that my Excel I've stopped my Excel here. So now this formula, I can just highlight it, add it to the end of the period. It's going to give me this. Right. This period plus 1. Calculation, everything here should be formula. And my month count is equal to, I just use my months formula, select it from my start date. So that will give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right. Then the next year we also start is on 1, 2, 3 to year 5, like that. Okay. For my year period, I just extract the year equal to year, extract the year from my date, and I have this, and extract that. Right. So date is very important. You definitely need this for you to be able to build a flexible model. So now let me freeze my panel. Yeah, right. So by the time I move to the right, I move to the left, I move down, and this is still shown. So I know yeah, most people don't like this grid line. Maybe we should remove the grid line. Yeah, that's I really love this grid line. Let me look for the color that we can white. Fine. Okay. Go down. Yeah. Okay. This is looking good. This is looking good. Okay. Now let's now get our quantity. Our quantity. So I want to forecast my quantity. I want to forecast my quantity. Forecast my quantity. So the first one is my what? My forecast. Our quantity. Units. Maybe parts. Okay, let's call this parts. Parts. For this period, I'll just link that to the 5,000 that we have here. Right now, the next question is I need my monthly. My monthly is where it gets interesting, because which formula in Excel do I need to use such that it will see that hey, this is January 1st, right? 2024. It will come to this input worksheet and it will look for January, right? It will look for the month of January and look at 2024 and give me this 0%. it will come here again, look for month of February, that is 2024, come to this my range in my input and look for February again, that is in 2024. So that means that's the same thing it's going to do. And someone is already giving us that index and match. We definitely do that for us. Someone is saying VLOOKUP. Okay, I'm not sure VLOOKUP, but I think it's also a good suggestion. And in case you know how to use XLOOKUP, I'm sure that would be a good one. All right, but you also need to, whenever you are building your model, the end users, they might not have access to the latest Excel that has all those functions. So index and match. Now let's see how that will work. Let's see how that will work. So in case you don't know about index, you definitely might need to, right? Yeah, you guys are giving me great suggestions. So you might try that on your own too. As I said, it's finance, it's very, very flexible, right? More than you can get things done different ways. So what most people would have done is they will now decide to do this one after the other. They will start equal to here, come here, put this one here. You now, I cannot imagine the time they would spend that. And you know the result of that? What if they now decide that, you know what, our business is not starting in January, we are going to start in March. So which means the first month of the business operation is not January, and you've automatically done your own that way. So which means flexibility, 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 right? So I need equal to my index, and the first thing index is asking me is my array. And anytime you see array, basically what we want as the result. What we want as the result. So I'll just highlight everything here, that is what I want as a result. What I want as a result. So comma. Then the next thing is I'll now need my match function. Match. Now, the match function, I need it to go and look for this year, which I'm going to keep let me keep the row constant, comma. You should go and look for it where? You should go and look for it in the list of this our year that we've itemized here. I'm going to keep that constant, comma, and you should give me the exact match. I'll add another comma so that I can get the column, and I will now use another match function. So maybe if you don't know much about index and match, please, you need to. Even if you don't know anything in Excel, as long as you're a financial modeler, you definitely need to. So now, this time, I now need to go and look for my month count, right? Which I'm also going to keep the row constant. So in case I want to reuse the formula, comma, you should go and look for it in the list of all these months that we've itemized them. I'm also going to keep that constant, and you should give me the exact match, and I'll close my bracket 2 times and press enter. So now convert this into, let me format it into percent, and if I drag it across, so let's see if this is working. So number one thing is put a formula. So Excel is just garbage in, garbage out, right? So which means if you've not done it correctly, that's the same thing you're also going to get. So looking at this, I think I've seen my mistake. So I forgot to lock the first array. So let me delete that and let me do it again. So that I really love these things twice. So equal to index. What we need first is this our what? Output. These are by the time the formula does the lookup and the thing. What do you want as a result? So I'm going to keep that constant, comma, then match function. Match function. I said I want to look for the current year up here. Comma, you should go and look for it in the list of the years that we've itemized here. Comma, and you should give me the exact match. I'll close that bracket for the first one. Then comma, I need for the columns. Then I'm saying, hey, go again, go and match. Look for the months count. You should go and look for it in the what? In the list of the months number that we've itemized it. Keep it constant, and you should give me the exact match. Close my bracket twice, and I'll press my enter. So with this, if I copy everything to the right, look at what we are going to get. So let me just, okay, yeah. So 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. So it's always good you test so that you are sure your formula is working perfectly. So in January the second year, What am I getting? Starting in the first month, that is 3%, which is correct. So if I go to the next year and I look at that, 2%, this is the same thing, which is also correct. So you should be able to look through and make sure that, yes, it is picking the correct thing. So if I do this, my base period multiplied by my bracket 1 plus my growth rate, and track that. So let me format this. So this is what I get. This is what I get. Now, I know most times we do our projection and we are saying yes, the business will keep increasing significantly like that from year one straight. But in business reality, especially if you are dealing with monthly model, it does not work like that. Right? And that's where we now need to introduce our seasonality. So let me put this percent here. So seasonality is also a percent. For seasonality, we're also going to use that same index and match. So let me just copy this that format. Let me paste it here. So I'll put equal to my index. Set index, the first thing is looking for. So now this time we need our scenario, right? So this is the output, this is the result that I want. Keep that constant, comma, then it should match. It should match what? It should match the month count, which is the January to December, year one, then they go to the next year, right? And do the same thing. So which I'm going to keep that constant, comma, you should look for it in the list of this our month value. Keep it constant and it should give us the exact match. And I click this twice, right? And if I drag this to the right, I think we should be able to get the same thing. So also, as I said, always make sure you confirm so that you ensure that it's giving you exactly what you want. It's a garbage in, garbage out. If you do a mistake, definitely it's going to give you that your mistake output. Right. So now, how do we now calculate our actual quantity? In fact, you know the interesting thing, we can also factor in capacity. So as I said, see, it's all about the reality of the business, right? It's all about the reality of the business. So let's assume, but let's do that. So I'm going to call this capacity. Right? Align this to the left. Okay, yeah. So let me align it to the left. Okay. So let's take a look at the capacity. Capacity concept. As I said, it's all about the reality of a business. We just need to, right? Okay. So now let's assume. So this is, let's say this is the production capacity. That is what they can produce and sell. So maybe this 2024. This 2024, okay, can this be applicable in a service industry which has different? Definitely, right? Okay, yes. Don't worry, we are on track. We're on track. So here, so the 5 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So where they have a capacity, right? Maybe maybe the maximum capacity they can produce and sell, right? Let's first look at what's this looking at. But, you know, you definitely be building the reality of, let's say here maybe 15,000. Which in a month they can produce and sell 15. They can produce and sell 15,000 packs, right? Okay, so maybe following periods they still maintain this capacity. Then in year 3, maybe they decide to invest more and do stuff like that, right? So maybe they move it to 20 units, right? So 20 units, and you can keep this. So there you can add and incorporate things that are applicable in the real scenario of business. And you can then link this. So let me assume what's the actual quantity, right? So let's first calculate the actual quantity. So which will now be equal to what? The forecast quantity multiplied by what? Multiplied by the seasonality percent. So comma, and I can drag this across. Right? So for me to see the cumulative, so cumulative unit quantity or unit either way, quantity sold. So I'll just do this previous period plus the current period, and I can drag that over here. So which means we are saying if they start almost 4,000, at the end of the year 5, they should be able to sell almost 564,000 units, right? So which means in case you now want to do what will be total unit that will be sold in this particular period, it's just easy for you to use your sum if to get that. And in fact, making it in looking at it, right? If you decide to plug this into a graph, now let's look at this actual quantity. If I just highlight everything, and come here and insert a chart, recommended chart. I think I would love this line chart, and click on OK. Right? So let me cut this and put it in another worksheet, and let's see if this actually mirror the reality of a typical business. Right? Maybe I can decide to change the month, but I think we can. Okay, let me change this month today so that this is looking good. So select data, and let me edit this so that we have the month showing. Yes, so we have this. Okay, so let me format it so that it's showing very well. So professionalism in everything you do, make sure you do it properly. So let me select my date format. So all this I'm doing, they are just basic Excel, please. In case you don't know, you might just take your time and add to your basic Excel knowledge. I'm not doing any magic. Please. Okay. Right. No, I don't. I want it to show. Proper. So let me see the interval. I don't like the bend. I don't like when I see this bend date of the thing. So maybe interval. Okay, maybe I should make the interval 3 months so that it's quarterly. Okay, good. Perfect. So I don't like saying that dates in slides or something. Let me add this. Add this. So this. I call that something like this. Okay, now but this chart I can just decide to play with the chart that I don't mind me. This just be adding more to what we've done, right? So I think okay, so then we okay, good. Now you can see that it kind of makes sense like this, because this is more like how a typical business works. If you take a business actual production, right? You take a look at, we decide to add a trend line, maybe a moving to period. So let me go for more options. Let me go for, I think 2 months, or about, you can have like a 3 months. Okay, moving average. Okay, yeah. So if I add a 3 month moving average to it, let's take a look at how this will look. So on quarterly basis, right? I add label. I decide to add data label to it. That decide to add data label. Okay, so data label might be scattered here and there, but the truth is, okay, let me take a look at few data label that we can add. So don't let's add to everything. So here I'm adding a data label here, so it's going to show me the actual quantity. So for this period, I can just decide to add and see how this just kind of mirror the realistic business operations, right? Data label, so it's easy to see, oh, this particular month we're going to have a drop. So it's more like a typical way the business operates, right? So there's no business that just maintain a straight line growth. No, it's not possible. And this is how you, as a business owner, this is how you even know what is going on in your business. So it's easy for you to pick this and say that, oh, if I'm taking a look at what we've had over the month, I think, well, this particular month, we usually have a significant drop in our units sold. What is happening? What do you think we can do? Oh, yeah, the purchasing power has dropped. Then what are the things that we can do so that we can still maintain a straight line thing, right? And most times when you get to a typical manufacturer, you want to see the true moving. That's why they usually use that moving average. Yes, in the actual sense, this is what you are going to see. You see this zigzag, zigzag. So it's not as if it's just going to be a straight line. No, that's not the real business case. This is how you incorporate that monthly. So what's the strategy? Oh, we employed 10 marketing staff. The next thing is, what will be the effect on the figures? So if you put out your monthly model, the salaries, everything, the available staff in each month. Oh, this our cost will definitely increase, affect the profitability stand. But what if that cost increased and the inverse also affected our revenue? Then we get to gain more. So that is how you mirror the realistic part of business and building it monthly. So even if you want to do the same thing for your pricing, you do the same thing. It's easy for you to mirror what the performance of the business is on monthly basis. Get your working capital, working cash, do the same thing on monthly basis. So this is such a very flexible approach, right, that you can use. So this, we can decide to incorporate scenario so that they know, oh, which scenario are they using? Are they using scenario 1? Are they using scenario 2? All right. So, but when we do that scenario, our time is fast spent. So we can't before. But let's just see. Let's just see. So now, because this is what has been linked to my formula. So you know what I'm going to do. So I'll just copy this guy, put it here. So this becomes the scenario 1. Scenario 1, now scenario 2, we still keep that the way we have it. So now this, so I'll just copy format here so that's what we have here, because this is what has been linked to our calculation. So here I will delete this. Immediately I delete it, everything will then turn to the same thing, right? So what I'm going to do, I'll come here and I'll put my equal to. So let's assume so this will be the selected scenario. Selected scenario, which I will type 1 here. So I'm going to use, I'll just highlight the cell range at once. So equal to choose, right? This period, which is my index switch. So switch equal to then this guy, comma. So the scenario 1 and the scenario 2 case, and I'll press enter. So automatically flow me here. So what if you are using the scenario 2 case? If you are using the scenario 2 case, so look at how this looks, right? So if I keep pressing my F9, I'm sure you're going to see different thing, right? So the growth here just seems to be so really be so crazy, right? Well, as I said, yeah. So this is actually here. So maybe you want to adjust this for monthly, or you want to still incorporate this. I'll just leave that to you at your own your own command, right? But scenario 1, this which is the management, also I still prefer that one, right? But as I said, cases where you don't have that, that's where you just want to incorporate this your statistical approach to it, right? And for you to be able to get those monthly data. But most times, this monthly is very good. The business owner need to sit down with it themselves and be able to say, "Hey, this month, this is how we plan to grow. This is how we plan to expand on monthly basis." All right, and you should be able to have something realistic and something that mirror what is obtainable and what can be achieved, right? With incorporation